This is a chart of Mossade, MOS, and it's Friday's trading. So you can see that these lines that are drawn by the John Carter TTM LRC, Linear Regression Channel study, are pointing out where the median of the recent activity is and the 1 standard deviation and the 2 standard deviation. It shows that MOS is in an uptrade, and right now we're at 9:30 on Friday morning. So let's pause this and fast forward. We're looking at 10:30, and we can see that the LRC has readjusted itself to reflect more of an uptrend in the stock, and now the stock is peaking at the 1 standard deviation and coming back to the median. So let's pause this and let's fast forward again. Now we're at 12:30. The trend slope here of the LRC has decreased, and we're trending now between the 1 standard deviation plus and minus on either side of the median line. But you can see how the linear regression channel is keeping pace with the trend in the direction of the stock. So now it's 2:30 in the afternoon, and the LRC lines, remember, these are moving with the stock movement. These don't have to be adjusted manually. And you can see now that the trend basically is going to flat. What happened is the stock hit 2 standard deviation from the median of this range from here to current, and is now pulling back to the median. Stock finished the day moving towards the median and pretty much in a slightly uptrending but relatively flat channel. So all this was meant to point out is that the John Carter study TTM LRC is very useful in showing you very quickly what the current trend is in the stock, where the median trend line would be drawn, and where you have 1 standard deviation movements on either side of that median. Now remember what the math means, that 1 standard deviation is meant to incorporate 66% of the price action from the beginning of the measured area to the end, and 2 standard deviations is meant to include 95% of the pricing. Run through the same thing with Apple on Friday, and you can see as the day opened, after the first two 5-minute candles, we have Apple continuing from Thursday in a downward trend. Now let's move. 11:30, the stock now with some of Thursday in consideration and 2 hours of Friday, we now have Apple in a slight uptrend, moving between 1 standard deviation on either side of the median line. By 2:30 in the afternoon, the stock has reversed, and our regression channel is now down. We show the stock going into, or being now squeezed. We still see the price activity in between the 1 standard deviation lines, but we did see a 2 standard deviation move earlier, and we're going to move now towards the end of the day. So at the end of the day on Friday, we saw no change from middle of the afternoon. We saw the price activity remaining between 1 standard deviation on either side of the median, and the slope was still down. So what I find with the John Carter Linear Regression Channel study is that it's very helpful to point you out in the direction of the current trend, show you where the upper and lower 1 standard deviation and 2 standard deviation limits are, and where the median price activity is. Now what we're looking at here in these blue and red bars is John Carter's trend studies. So red indicates an identified downtrend. Apple had a brief but failed uptrend here, and then continued identified downtrend activity. And you can see that there was basically no volume.